southpaw. That's when that big left kick.
Tremendous confidence. The reason why that happens is look.
Ray Charles, I ain't never seen a bitch I need. Fuck that, I don't need no skis. It's so many rich niggas fucking bitches for free. If a nigga want pussy, make him pay that fee.
Well, another week, another shit show. This week, it's just me, Adrian. I do not have my partner Jordan joining me. Hopefully, he will be making his own video and editing his own video this week due to the fact that we cannot make it. He had to bring his dog to the vet just to get weighed, quick checkup. Shout out to Jordan, by the way. So let's start it off here. We have UFC Fight Night Vegas 10, the 10th one so far this year. Another shit show. There's been 3 canceled fights, maybe 4 if I'm not mistaken. Tyson Nam, Matt Schnell. Schnell botched a weight cut. We had Glover Teixeira versus Thiago Santos. That was supposed to be the main event of this card. Teixeira tested positive for COVID. We had Brock Weaver, Frank Camacho. Frank Camacho withdrew from the fight for unknown reasons. But we have stepping in Jalen Turner, and we'll get to that later. Also, we had a Matt Frevola dropping out of the Roosevelt Roberts fight. And Kevin, the Hillbilly Kroom, is hard-hitting hillbilly. That's what his name is. The hard-hitting hillbilly Kevin Kroom is stepping in to fight Roosevelt Roberts on the co-main event of the prelims. So let's get it started with the first fight of the night. We have Sabina Mazo versus Justine Kish coming up. So if anyone doesn't know, a quick background on Justine Kish: she shit her pants. She literally got taken down and shit her pants. I believe it was against Felice Herrig, and she did lose. She not only did she shit her pants, she lost, but she did come out with a good win versus Lucy Pudilova in her last fight. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be enough to take down the Colombian beast, Sabina Mazo, the Colombian queen. Sorry, that's her name, but I think she's a beast because of just the way she fights, how aggressive she is, doesn't stop coming at you. She's had some good wins in her past couple fights here. Let's see. Yeah, she did beat Shayna Dobson. Who actually just beat Maria Agapova, which was crazy upset. I believe that was on the same card with Marlon Vera, I believe, and she just absolutely destroyed. It was crazy. She destroyed Agapova in the second round, but Sabina Mazo is going to win this one by decision, I believe. So let's moving on to the next fight. We have Brian Barberena versus Anthony Ivy. Both of them really, really dangerous and good contenders. Brian Barberena, you can see his record isn't the best as of lately, but he did fight crazy opponents compared to Anthony Ivy. Anthony Ivy just making his, his second fight in the UFC, absolutely got devastated in his debut by Christian Aguilera, who just lost by a guillotine choke to Sean Brady. But Anthony Ivy, glass chin. Brian Barberena can swing for the fences. We're gonna go with Brian Barberena by KO in the second round. Moving on to the next fight of the night, we have Brock Weaver versus Jalen Turner. In my opinion, Brock Weaver should not be fighting in the UFC. He should go back to bare knuckle boxing. I believe that's where he was. Yeah, he had a bare knuckle boxing fight, lost. But that's basically, his career is just shit, man. He's just so bad. I don't know how he won in the Contender Series. He basically slipped by Rodrigo Vargas by getting hit with an illegal knee. And Roosevelt Roberts, we all know what happened there, who's fighting tonight. And then Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner is just a beast, man. They call him the Tarantula for a reason. He has devastating knockout power. Knocked out Calvin Potter and Joshua Culibao in his last two of his last 3 fights. He did lose to the steamroller Frevola, who was out of tonight's card for some reason. We're gonna go with Jalen Turner here by KO in the first round. Brock Weaver's going down heavy. Fourth fight of the night, we have Alexander Romanov, who was supposed to fight last week, but he got a new opponent here with Roque Martinez. So Alexander Romanov, still an undefeated fighter, still, in my opinion, is going to win this fight. Still a beast, still just an absolute animal bear that I think is just going to take down Roque Martinez for all 3 rounds and just lay on top of him, maybe getting the decision in the late second or in the early third round. But overall, my pick is going to be Alexander Romanov by submission in the 3rd round. So, moving on to the 5th round of the night, we have Roosevelt Roberts and Kevin Croom, who I was talking about earlier in the beginning of the night. Roosevelt Roberts coming off a really, really weird loss to Jim Miller. If you want to rewatch that fight, it looked like Roosevelt Roberts, he should have kept way more of a distance than he did. He got caught on his back early. Jim Miller grabbed the arm, secured the arm bar in the 1st round, and Roosevelt Roberts just had a very upset, disappointed look on his face after the fight, and he is going for revenge. He's going to take down Kevin Croom in the 2nd round with a TKO, ground and pound, I believe. Not much to say about Kevin Croom here. His first, he was supposed to make his debut, I believe, against Alex Caceres 2 to 3 weeks ago. Don't quote me on this, but he never made it. And he's here to make his UFC debut against Roosevelt Roberts, who is a great contender. Roosevelt Roberts, ground and pound, KO, 2nd round. Moving on to the main event of the prelims, we have Julia Avila versus Ciara Eubanks. And again, women's MMA, we have fucking 4 women's MMA fights on the card today. It's not the best, it's not the greatest, it's not the worst either, but, we got to do it. We got to make a prediction since we're here. Not a lock at all. We're going to give our locks at the end of the night, like always. Julia Avila is going to win it by decision. Quick and easy, simple. Ciara Eubanks, what do I say here? Who does she fought? She fought Modafferi, lost to a pretty close decision against Aspen Ladd. You can honestly, maybe some people argue that Eubanks won that fight, but I believe that Avila is just so much more of a dominant, pressurized style fighter and dangerous knockout power. Knocks out women left and right viciously. Her last win would have needed a body and then punches in 22 seconds of the 1st round. So we're going to go with Julia Avila here by quick devastation. I'm predicting a 1st round finish by either submission, TKO, or DQ. Moving on to the first fight of the main card, we have Billy Quarantillo versus Kyle Nelson. Both these fighters extremely well-rounded. Kyle Nelson, more of a primarily stand-up guy, stand and bang, insane knockout power. Billy Quarantillo, more of a wrestling-oriented fighter, more of a grappler, and more of a take you down to the ground and try to submit you or beat you up with little quick elbows, quick strikes, like we saw against Spike Carlisle in the last fight. I'm going to go with a surprise. We have Billy Quarantillo is a big favorite here. Unfortunately, I do not think he's going to win the fight. I think Spike Carlisle should have beat him, but now we see a guy like Kyle Nelson coming in with crazy heavy hands, and we've seen Billy Quarantillo knocked out in the past. He's been knocked out by some bumps in his career, given that it wasn't recent, but he still got lost with a pretty devastating head kick by Michel Quinones. Who's also like a bum, but Billy Quarantillo, do I think he's hit his ceiling already? Yes. Do I think he's anywhere that good? His record is 14-2, but I think it doesn't really show it. Like, he hasn't really fought anybody. He hasn't really proved to me his worth, but I think it's going to be a good test against Kyle Nelson. But I do think Kyle Nelson is going to get the job done with a 1st round TKO, spinning back fist, if I want to call it and make it more specific. Moving on to the next fight of the main card, we have Alan Patrick versus Bobby Green. Alan Patrick coming off a very, very long 2-year layoff after getting fucking devastated by another bum, Scott Holtzman. And Bobby Green's been really active recently. On the contrary, Bobby Green has fought twice in 2020 now. Once in 2019, lost to Francisco Trinaldo, but he is on a 2-fight winning streak. Believe it or not, completely outclassed Clay Guida, completely outclassed Lando Venata in his last fight, which was just under a month, like a little bit over a month ago on August 1st. A quick turnaround time for Bobby Green here. We can tell that he's in really good shape still. Probably he's getting better and better, I think, since the Clay Guida fight. He's gotten better, and due to the fact that Alan Patrick is coming off a long layoff, I think it's going to be tough to deal with a guy like Bobby Green who likes to keep his distance, likes to jab you to death, and I don't think Alan Patrick really has any unorthodox style that can shock or do anything crazy to Bobby Green. That's why I'm just going to take Bobby Green to keep his distance, jab Alan Patrick's face off for 3 rounds and win by a decision. Moving on to the next fight of the night, we have Ed Herman versus Mike Rodriguez. We saw what Mike Rodriguez did his last fight. We saw that. It was against a good, pretty decent opponent with Marcin Percinio too, given that he has kind of a chin issue. But his opponent here, Edward Short Fuse Herman, is 39 years of age. Now, in my previous bets that I've done, betting on MMA, betting on UFC, I've always faded the old guy, and I'm going to continue fading the old guy, simply the fact because it's making me money. And what am I going to do here? I'm going to bet Mike Rodriguez. This fight is not going to go the distance. That's going to be one of my locks for the night. Mike Rodriguez is going to blow this guy's head off in the first round. Mike Rodriguez wins by knockout again, continuing his streak. Moving on to the 10th fight of the night, Roxanne Modafferi versus Andrea Lee. Whoa! Man, oh man, this fight is shit. I can't believe this is on the main card. UFC, what are you doing to us? What? Okay, well, you're making it up with next week, so I'll let this slide. If I had to pick, I would do a coin. I would flip a coin right now. That's how we're gonna decide this pick, because I have no idea. Andrea Lee, Roxanne Modafferi, both of them have nothing to offer to the women's flyweight division. Both of them are gonna be unranked women's fighters for the rest of their careers. So heads Andrea Lee, tails Roxanne Modafferi. Heads it is. Moving on to the next fight, co-main event, Kama Worthy, Otman Azaitar. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Otman Azaitar. Whatever. We're going to make it work. We're going to go with Otman here. Otman, I think he's just the overall more well-built, overall more has a way bigger potential. Kama Worthy, he's 16-6. He's already getting up there in age. He's about to turn 34 in October. And yeah, he's getting up there in age. He won against Deontay Smith, which they basically were tapping gloves the whole first round, and then he caught him on the chin out of nowhere. Devontae Smith is still an animal, and I think he's still going to bounce back and absolutely dismantle whoever he fights next. But Kama Worthy did show some he knows how to face adversity. Like Luis Pena, you would think that was Violent Bob Ross. You'd think that'd be a mismatch for Kama Worthy. But on the contrary, he did lose a round by getting taken down. But then he just dominated Luis Pena and eventually got the finish in the third round. Devontae Smith, fluke fight. Luis Pena, not the greatest of fighters. Maybe he has a cool nickname. Maybe he has a cool style. But he's really not that good of a fighter. This is Kama Worthy's first test, and I don't think he's going to pass this test. I think Otman is going to devastate him. I think I think this fight's going to go to distance, and we're going to see a brawl. We're going to see a bloodbath. These guys are just going to strike until somebody's head falls off. But both these guys have decent chins, so we're going to go with this fight because it's going to go to decision, and we're going to go with Otman to win. And for the main event here, we have Michelle Waterson versus Angela Hill. So This is an easy one, I think. I think Angela Hill should be on a 4-fight winning streak right now. I think she got robbed against Claudia Gadelha. And Michelle Waterson, who'd she beat? That's maybe like Kovalkiewicz or Van Zandt, her 2 best wins. I don't know, man. Michelle is just on a 2-fight losing streak. She doesn't seem to have that gas tank. She doesn't seem to have that fuel anymore. And that's why we're going to go with Angela Hill here. We're going to go with her by decision. And that's how we're going to close out the whole fight card. Going to our locks of the night. I have a few here that we can break down. And so we're going to go with a two-man parlay for our lock here. We're going to go with Alexander Romanov. We're going to go with either Jalen Turner or Roosevelt Roberts. But I'm leaning more towards Jalen Turner just because of the fact that the hard-hitting hillbilly can end someone's night in one punch, and Brock Weaver is just such a bum. So, but the lines are both at like minus 270 for Romanov, minus 310. Jalen Turner's opening up, but Jalen Turner was supposed to fight last week. His opponent couldn't make it, so he was probably just sitting in the UFC warehouse just waiting for something like this to happen, and it does happen because it happens every week. So and we just got to get used to it because it's the Corona times and all that bullshit. But yeah, Jalen Turner, Alexander Romanov lock for the parlay. We're gonna do Jalen Turner, Alexander Romanov, Roosevelt Roberts. We're gonna go with Mike Rodriguez, and that's it. Those 4 guys for the parlay. If you want to sprinkle a little spicy something, I really like Kyle Nessel to win by KO. That's plus 500 at my book. So it's maybe a little 5 on there. Sprinkle it. Have yourself a good night. Get yourself a lunch tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, whenever you eat lunch. But we got another one here, guys. Hopefully Jordan will be here for next week. And UFC Cappers coming at you. Take care.